Okay, so what if a poem could be written in code? Or what if a mathematical proof could actually be a work of art? That's exactly what we're looking at here. This incredible 62-second piece builds this, well, almost impossible bridge between the world of a 1920s poet and the superlogical cryptographic world of Bitcoin.
So, to really get what this bridge is all about, we have to meet its architects. And these are two minds separated by an entire century, but, get this, united by the exact same obsession.
So on one side, you've got this mystic, right? Velimir Khlebnikov. He's a Russian futurist poet writing back in 1922, and he was convinced he could find the mathematical heartbeat of history itself. Then, on the other side, you have a ghost, Satoshi Nakamoto, the totally anonymous coder who, almost 100 years later, in 2008, literally built a new kind of history with Bitcoin. I mean, a poet and a programmer. You couldn't get more worlds apart, right?
So, what in the world could these two possibly have in common? I mean, really, what was it that they both spent their entire lives searching for?
Well, the thing that links them, the thing that binds them across that whole century, is this incredible shared obsession with finding the fundamental laws of time.
Yeah, both of them, in their own completely different ways, were on the hunt for the pure laws of time, written in number. They both had this core belief that time isn't just, a river flowing by. They saw it as a structure, something you could actually order, secure, and make totally irreversible, all through the power of math.
Okay, and this is where it gets really interesting, where their paths kind of cross but also split. Khlebnikov, the poet, he imagined a speculative kind of math for time. He called it his boards of fate, and he was literally trying to predict history using the powers of 2 and 3. But Nakamoto, he created an executable mathematics. See the difference? The blockchain isn't a prediction, it's a machine that locks every moment into an irreversible chain using proof of work. It's like Khlebnikov dreamed of a universe written in numbers, but Nakamoto went ahead and actually built it.
And when you bring these two worlds together, you get this really powerful new idea that the artwork calls Numeric Humanism. And the core principle here is that numbers, well, they're not just cold, abstract things on a page. They're actually cultural artifacts. They're poetic forces that carry real, deep historical meaning.
All right, so that's the big idea, the theory behind it all. But how does the artwork itself actually prove it? Well, the answer is literally encoded into its runtime. It's all there in a 62-second blueprint.
The whole argument, everything we've talked about, is packed into just 62 seconds. And that duration, it's not random at all. The number itself, 62, that's the key to the whole thing.
So that runtime, it's actually a formula. It's a poem written in math that pulls directly from Khlebnikov's theories. Check this out. 62 is 3 cubed plus another 3 cubed plus 2 cubed. And the artist gives this a beautiful translation. 2 towers of time, 1 cube of chain. You see, it's a direct link between the poet's vision and the structure of the blockchain.
And this is not just some clever gimmick, This is the actual architectural plan for the entire visual experience. You've got two 27-second movements, that's the 3 cubed, which stand for Khlebnikov's number of conflict and recurrence, and that's followed by an 8-second coda, the 2 cubed, which is his number for growth and inscription. The math is the poem.
Okay, so now let's actually see how this mathematical blueprint unfolds as a visual journey, a trip right through the system itself.
This 62-second piece, which the artist actually calls a vessel, it unfolds in these really distinct stages, and each stage has a dual meaning, one for the coder and one for the poet.
So the whole journey kicks off with the tables of fate detonate. Now on the surface, let's call that the exoteric view. What you're seeing is this white-hot explosion. That's the first Bitcoin block being mined. But underneath that, the esoteric meaning, you're seeing Khlebnikov's vision come to life. His mythical city of numbers, Chizhishkad, literally rising out of the water of time like some kind of kaleidoscopic cathedral.
Then, as we move on, we're walking through the chain, and that chaotic explosion from the first block starts to cool down, to harden into a stable structure. So, for the coder, this is the chain solidifying into a corridor of confirmed blocks. But for the poet, that city of counting becomes a real, walkable architecture. Time actually becomes a place.
And finally, the whole system scales up into what's called the peer-to-peer constellation. For Nakamoto, this is simple. Distributed consensus. It's that flat, decentralized network of nodes where everyone is sovereign. But for Khlebnikov, this is the universe itself becoming a thinking organism, a sky full of stars where every single star is its own center.
So you see this entire intricate system,
The math, the visuals, the story, none of this was an accident. It wasn't just randomly generated. It was designed. And that brings us to maybe the most important argument this piece makes. What is the role of the human artist in an age of AI? The artist Vladi Lepi makes a pretty bold claim. They say, AI art is human-made art. The artist directs, the medium generates. In other words, the human isn't just some passenger pushing buttons on a machine.
And to really unpack this, the work gives us this concept of directing intelligence. And it's defined as the exclusively human act of creating the whole conceptual framework, of deliberately selecting the final output, and defining the entire system that an AI has to work within. The artist isn't just a user of the software, they become the architect of the entire protocol.
And that's exactly why the artist calls this piece an architectural proof of work. Think about it. Just like Bitcoin's proof of work is all about securing the ledger, this artwork is designed to prove one thing: that conscious, deliberate human intent is the only force that can transform raw computation into something with meaning, into art. So, at the end of the day, in this incredible fusion of code and poetry, where do we find the human signature? What's the final, undeniable mark?
I think this quote just sums it up perfectly. Khlebnikov proposed a universe written in numbers. Nakamoto built one. SurR.Ai makes it felt. The whole purpose of the artwork is to be a kind of digital fossil, to give you a sensory experience that lets you actually feel the human intent behind these huge, abstract systems.
And all of this leaves us with one final, and I think really vital question. In a world where machines can generate infinite copies of anything, what is the real value of a single, intentional, human-authored system?